I got the idea for the film in 2009. I got hired by Fox to do the Simpsons 20th anniversary special, and so I was there in 2009 shooting a special. We were having a fan casting. So I want to have a casting of people to come in and profess their love for all things Homer Simpson. And a guy comes running into the room as we're having this audition process, painted head to toe in liquid latex, red liquid latex. And he had little skivvies on that had been painted over, but literally all over his head, all the way down his body. He had fake teeth in his mouth. He had black blood pouring out. He had little black spots and things sticking out of him all over. And he comes running into the room. He's like, "Hey! I guess I love Homer Simpson. He's the greatest thing ever. He changed my life. You don't understand how important he is to me." And he goes on for 5 minutes like this. And finally, when he was done, I was like, "That's awesome." But what's all this? And he goes, and he looked down at his outfit like he forgot that he had it on. And he looked down and he goes, "I'm Carnage." You know who Carnage is? I was like, "Oh no, I know who Carnage is." And he goes, "Oh, okay. So my wife helped me get ready this morning. She painted this all over me, and then she and the kids drove me here, and they dropped me off." And I said, "I don't think they dropped you off." And he goes, "Yeah. They don't really get it." At that moment, I was like, "This is a movie." And it literally came out of that. The idea kind of rolled from there. But that's where it all started. Did I have a favorite storyline? There's so many people you love. You love Skip. You love Skip Harvey so much, and you want Skip to just good things to happen for him. He's going out and showing his portfolio, and he just keeps getting shot down. And you're like, "Oh, it's not going to happen for him. I know it's not going to happen." And I loved Holly. Was the first person we cast for the film. The very first person we cast in the movie was Holly Conrad. We got her video, which her video is still on YouTube. Her submission video. It's had 150,000 views by now. We got her video, and as soon as we got her video, I called up my producing partners and said, "You have to watch this video." I emailed all of them. I was like, I think she's the first person we should cast. And we kind of used her as the litmus test of everybody else we measured against. What is everybody else going for? What's their purpose? What do they want to accomplish? Are there stakes? And I think she gave the film a very good direction once we put her in, because using her as kind of the model of what we wanted other stories to kind of measure up to made a big difference. So, I love Holly. I love James Darling and Stay Young. It's fantastic. Their story is so great, and the fact that he can't get away from her at all. It's just amazing. He would say, I'm going to the bathroom. She's like, "I'll be outside." "I'm outside the bathroom still, in case you're wondering." It was amazing. I love their story. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. There was an amazing story. We followed 10 people into Comic-Con. There was a couple from Colombia, South America. There was so much that got left on the floor, the psych interviews. There's so many people that we interviewed on sites that didn't make it into the movie. Felicia Day, Nathan Fillion, Ron Perlman, Zach Quinto, Marv Wolfman, Jerry Robinson, the creator of the Joker. There were so many interviews with people who we did that just didn't make it in the movie because you just can't put everything in. There was a couple. There was another storyline that we were following. It started in South America. Husband and wife. His dream, his whole life, was to start his own comic book, own his own comic book company. And so they mortgaged their house, they published this comic book, they're starting to try and get it out in the marketplace. They're getting there, but they're not really making any money, not making any headway. And he's like, "God, if we're really going to make this work, we've got to get somebody who can help us really get this out beyond Colombia. We've got to get this out to the world. We've got to get this into the Latino market around the world. We've got to go to Comic-Con." So they borrow some money from his mom. They enter the lottery. They win a booth. Because it's so hard to even get a booth at Comic-Con. The booths sell out like that. Tickets sell out in 90 minutes for Comic-Con, and booths sell out just as fast. That's how competitive it is to get in. So they entered the lottery. They got a booth. They sent their money. So now here it is. They're so excited. They've got their booth. They got all their materials together. Here's where we're going to go. Here's our plan of action. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. His wife's visa shows up. His visa never comes. So he flies over. She flies over, and he's stuck. So the guy whose dream this is more than anything, and the guy who's passionate, the guy who has a plan, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go meet these people and this person. We're going to say, I'm going to chase them. Now suddenly it's she's so nervous. She doesn't know what to do. She's lost the minute she gets there. She sets up the booth. you know, she's trying to talk to people. She can't communicate any of this, you know, the way he can. And it just, to explain everything that was going into their stories, like I really made a decision early on that I didn't want to have a voiceover in the film. And the more we put their story in, the more we had to explain what was going on, because it just wasn't clear. And especially by being bilingual, it made it even harder. You know, so like she's home, she's Skyping with him in Spanish, and it's just, now there's even more that we had to explain of what was going on if we wanted to condense their storyline. And it just got to the point in the cut where it's like, we either keep them in and we go to a voiceover or we pull it out. And I said we should pull it out because it literally affects everything else. And I think we made the right choice, but it was a hard choice. Yeah, she goes, what was my experience like working with the staff behind the scenes? There are literally like two people, Faye Desmond and David Glanzer, who control Comic-Con. Like from them, there's a ripple effect that goes all the way down to everybody else. But they are the two people who literally manage and control the day-to-day of this behemoth that is San Diego Comic-Con. And once we got their blessing to make this movie, which was a miracle, like we never would have gotten to make this film had Stan Lee and Joss Whedon not come on board to produce with me. I don't think they ever would have let me make it by myself. You know, I think that those two guys gave the film the geek cred that it needed for Comic-Con to say yes. And you know, we had a crew. It was the biggest crew I've ever had in my life. We had 150 people work on that film. We had 15 full crews that were following people, you know, throughout the festival, throughout the Comic-Con. At any given time, those 15 crews, a field producer within that crew could also pick up a camera, so the 15 cameras could go to 30 automatically. So anywhere during the time, we'd be shooting anywhere from 15 to 30 cameras. And over that time, we shot 650 hours. Like the entire film that you saw was shot during Comic-Con. You know, with the exception of when people are at home, and we followed some people home at the end, and we didn't put any of that in the film. But like everything you see at the beginning, so we caught them before they left, and then everything else that's in the movie happened in 5 days. You know, which is remarkable. Like there's so much that literally went into producing that film. It was massive, and it was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life. It was incredible. You know, we got about that much sleep every day, but it's you're on such adrenaline when you're making a movie like this, and it was great. You know, that film, greatest movie ever sold. You know, 30 Days. I feel like that you can make a film that is entertaining, you can make a film that is engaging, but at the same time can kind of have a lasting impact. And I think that if you can make an audience laugh, you can make an audience listen. I think there's a real goal for that. You know, for me, I think that you can let people, your guard comes down when you're entertained, and suddenly information washes over you. And after Super Size Me, I had such a personally rewarding experience, even before the film was even done, before the film was finished. We submitted Super Size Me to the Sundance Film Festival, and before we even knew we got in, we said we should test this film. We should test this film with an audience, you know, because you learn that. And so we got clipboards, and we stood outside of the Angelica in New York City, which is like the art house theater downtown, and we all got clipboards to make sure we looked 34% more official. And we stood outside, and we waited for everybody to come out, and we said, would you like to come to a test screening of a new independent documentary film? And we got about 50 people to come, about this size of the post, and we showed them the film. And then afterwards, myself and the two editors came down front, and we just started saying, well, do you have any questions? Do you have any thoughts? And somebody in the audience said, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for showing everybody how stupid and terrible those corporations are, and we need to destroy them, and everybody in the world needs to know. And the guy on the other side of the room was like, what movie did you watch? You are out of your mind. You are insane, lady. You are crazy. Like, so everybody in the audience starts yelling at each other. And I lean over to the two editors, and I'm like, and the next day, we're like back in the edit, and we're talking about the night before and how amazing it was, and this visceral reaction that just came out of people, and it was in that conversation while we were still finishing the movie that I said, God, it'd be great to like do something like this more often. Like it took us a year to make this movie. It'd be great if we could do something like this, like on television. Like, what if we did this where we did the same thing this movie does, and we put people in a situation that makes them question their beliefs, and that's where 30 Days came from. You know, like literally out of that test screening that we had with that audience, we got the idea for 30 Days. And literally the week after Sundance, we sold Super Size Me at Sundance. The next week I was in LA, and we sold 30 Days. So like so even before the film was in theaters, I had already kind of been affected by just the response we got from an audience, and that led to the next thing. So I mean, I think that there is a power to documentary films that is really special. When Super Size Me came out, I was outside of a movie theater in Texas. And there were 3 movies playing. This is ridiculous. There were 3 movies playing, and it was Super Size Me, Troy, and Van Helsing. 3 movies in this movie theater, And I was there, and the kids are coming out of the movie theater afterwards and like, oh my God, that was so fucked up when he threw up out of the car window. And can you believe 1 in 3 kids is gonna get diabetes by the time he like, here were kids just like spouting out this information, and I was like, that's fantastic. It was incredible. We got so yeah. So we're gonna so who's wearing costumes? Everybody's wearing costumes. Come down front.